Hi everyone, my name is Judith and welcome back to my channel. Today is super exciting. I have Allison here from Toronto and she is a career coach and an expert at interviews. She's going to share some tips and tricks and strategies to give you the motivation you need to get out there and nail your interview. And I am going to show how to do this professional makeup look so that you feel good and confident while you're out there. Also too, we've used some of Allison's products combined with some of mine, so there's no need to go out and splurge on a whole bunch of different makeup products. You can use the stuff that you already have at home. So without further ado, let's begin. And I think for your job interview, it's kind of nice to go looking yourself.
Yeah, completely.
As much as possible. And that there's no distractions. So if you're sitting in an interview and you're wearing red lipstick, that might be all you're thinking about. Is it on my teeth? Is it? So
Totally.
I need to look up. And I'm going to apply a pink concealer underneath the eye. And I'm going to use my finger as a beauty blender. So you definitely don't need to invest in a beauty blender at all. You can do this all by your fingers. Feels okay?
Yeah.
And this is going to really, I'll just get you to turn a little bit this way. It's really going to brighten up the area. It's very easy to work with. It looks a little funny at first, but you can already see that it's like brightening up the area.
Totally.
And depending, some days you might want more or less, but it is once you learn to trust the pink concealers, you'll love it.
Yeah.
It's genius. And then what I'm going to do is anywhere in the face that has a little bit of red, I'm just going to spot treat in the greenish color, and that's just going to cancel out any purple or red tones. And then you won't need to wear so much foundation.
Wow.
It's kind of a strange concept at first. And I'll just need to turn over. So I'm just going to apply a generous amount because this is a very soft product that we're using. And then if you have a beauty blender, you can just start to blend it out. And drag it down a bit. You get a little face massage at the same time.
Yeah, it actually feels nice. It's like feathery. I think it's really important when you're thinking about the interview makeup, you want to do something that you can do, again, that could become kind of an everyday look. So maybe part of this process is doing a little reinvention around your everyday kind of work look.
Yes.
And then you can go in and debut it during the interview.
Yes, because you want to be able to maintain it too.
Yeah. And when you show up on the first day of work after you get the job, it's like, do I recognize you?
Yeah. It's like a totally different person almost.
Yeah.
I think my kind of thing would be, if I'm showing up this way, will I be able to maintain it? Is it realistic? And if it's not, opt for something maybe 20%.
Yeah, take it back a notch.
Or something.
Yeah.
What's the best way to prepare for an interview, do you think, for most people? Because it's very intimidating.
Yeah, it is. And what I see is that some people don't. Some people really don't prepare. And I think if you're a person who, especially if you're kind of natural at building relationships and you're comfortable talking about yourself and you're kind of chatty, then you sort of assume that I'll be great at interviews, which you do have a leg up if it comes naturally to you to connect with the person across the table. But a little prep can go a long way. So what I usually suggest to people is to spend half your prep time on the company, the role, the industry, just making sure that you can go in there and, be conversant in what's going on in that space.
Right. So they should really know about the company before even kind of going in.
Yeah, and I think it's like anything with internet research, you could spend literally your life learning everything about the company, which I don't think you need to do, but I think it's kind of basic. Like, I mean, if it's been in the news, I think you're going to pick that up in a pretty basic search. And if you know, maybe you're a customer of the company or you have some awareness of, you know, being on the receiving end of their services or whatever, maybe you don't, but maybe you know somebody who does, like basic research, right? Just basic to kind of know what's going on there.
Yeah, you don't want it to seem unnatural and like you've also been like
completely
like, obsessed with the company or
That's
something.
so funny. It's true. You don't want to know information you shouldn't know. That's really funny. But yeah, you also like, it can be kind of obvious if you really haven't done any research. Like if you don't know what's going on with the company, like kind of the basics of what they're offering is. Like, I think some people, you know, feel like they need to memorize the like core values on the website. Like I'm kind of less worried about that. Like some companies are going to be really into their core values. Other companies, like that's a thing on their website. But yeah, some company research. So that's half of your prep time, and the other half of your prep time is really about you thinking about you. Yeah, and like really getting clear on what your story is, what happened with each of the kind of moves that you've made in your career so far, all the whys of what you've done, and then thinking about, you know, your biggest accomplishments and thinking about how you can speak to those. So a lot of, I think the most high impact prep work you can do is really around like, what's been my career path? What am I bringing to this role? Asking yourself some of those questions.
Questioning yourself.
Yeah. And having that self-awareness and being able to communicate it is huge to the interviewer. Like very helpful to be talking to somebody who can speak to those things. And
like, what if like you're going in and you don't know much about the company, but you need a job and you think that you're a good fit and that you have some of the skills required for it? Is there like tips that like your personality trait can come in more, making eye contact with the interviewer?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to think about, one of the funniest things about interviews is, I mean, it's really easy to kind of think of it as like a test. It's like, we go back to like writing an exam in high school. Like it feels like this stressful, like whatever. But really, it's a conversation with another human being. And if at the end of it, they like you enough to want to work with you, then you go to the next level. Yeah. You know, and provided that you have a reasonable level of the qualifications. But to your point, like a lot of companies want to hire on attitude and are open to that and open to training because skills can be learned. Yes. Which is great for people that are looking to learn a new skill. Totally. And people who want to make a change. So yeah, I always say it's totally possible to like pivot into something different if you think it's a better fit for you. And yeah, that's when you can speak to, like you said, kind of your ability to learn quickly, your resilience. Yes. Like you can get, and when you're doing that prep around like, who am I? You can think of those qualities that are going to help demonstrate that you can make a change and be in an environment where maybe you're not an expert yet, but you can become one. Your relationship skills, you know, your willingness to ask for help, all that kind of stuff. Yes. And that's scary too once you get the job and you have to ask. I know, right? Employees for that. I know. A lot of companies are getting better at onboarding. Sometimes, I mean, it still kind of feels like jumping into an ocean when you show up on day one, but a lot of companies are getting better at like assigning a mentor to you or, you know, training their managers on being better managers. Work in progress. But yeah. How does one find out about the culture? It's a tough one because everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to know, like, what's it actually going to be like to work here before I kind of take the plunge. And so, close your eyes. Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm like, getting way too enough. Yeah, I think this one, I think a lot of times when people say, I want to know about the culture, what they really want to know is, I want to know if everybody works till 10 p.m. Yes. And it's like a real concern because our whole work culture is a little bit, we have some work to do around that. Like we're in a weird spot just in terms of how technology has really confused the whole like start and stop of a workday, and I feel like we're having to navigate that, and we will. I think in the next little while that's kind of coming to a head.
Yes.
Where the never-ending workday is not working for humans.
No.
And is unnecessary, right? It's not, exactly. But that's kind of another story. So you want to know, am I going to be expected to, be working 24/7? And as sad as it kind of is, like that question, tell me about the work hour responsibilities for this role, or tell me about the expectations of work hours, doesn't come off great to an interviewer, to the person interviewing you, because they're going to hear that and think, are you willing to do the work? And it can kind of come off, I think there's a little risk associated with raising an hours question specifically. So the better question is just, can you tell me about the culture in your organization or on this team?
Yes.
And then they'll probably tell you a bunch of stuff that you want to know, how much it's a top-down type of leadership style versus a more fluid, we want to hear everyone's ideas. They'll probably speak to hours, like most people leave by such and such. A lot of the people on the team have small kids or responsibilities outside of work. They'll speak to those things as part of their answer to that.
Oh, that's such a clever way of asking.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to know, they're selling you on the job. So whatever they tell you, this is kind of one of the things about interviewing in general. It's they're going to tell you a really, really good version.
Yes.
I mean, hopefully they're going to be honest about maybe if there's some challenges they're going through. Some will be honest about that. But overall, they want to sell you on the opportunity too. So just kind of recognizing that, okay, there's probably something that won't pan out exactly as they say, and just being comfortable with a little less than what they're telling you.
Right.
Yeah,
tone it down 20%.
Exactly. Just kind of be ready.
Or if they're saying too much of it, it's kind of questionable.
Yeah, if they're overselling it. I mean, and you're going to know something too from the industry a little bit. Certain industries really have that reputation, and so you need to they could be telling you, we have a great work-life balance here, but they could be speaking relative to other professional services firms or something like that, whereas it actually could be a really rough go for work-life balance. So this is where talking to people who you know in your network can also be really helpful, just getting intel, as much intel as you can. And you can even ask, are there some more people, if you seem to be moving forward in the process, or even if they get to a point where they are, they have an offer for you on the table, you could even at that point be would it be okay if I had a few more conversations with the people who'd be my peers? And just really doing your own homework.
Or kind of shadowing for a day or something.
Totally.
Could you do?
Yep. There's a lot you can do. I mean, if they're at a point where they're wanting you, if you're going in and saying those things, you want to make sure that you're
going to be happy too, and you're...
Yes, exactly. And you want to be clear, you want to be always gracious when you're receiving an offer,
yes.
And great, this sounds wonderful, I'm really excited about it.
Yes.
I was wondering if, so it doesn't come off well, I don't know, let me, do these 50 other checks on you first. You need to kind of be careful about how you're positioning it.
What do you think so far? The direction.
There's a lot more light in the skin, I think.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And you have beautiful brows, and it's, I just tweaked it a little bit just to give more strength.
Yeah.
Totally can skip that part though.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to get you to close your eyes. So I'm kind of using earth tone, brown tone, soft. There's no shimmer. I love shimmer. But let's say if it was for a corporate position or an office position, it's very easy to work with these earth tones, and it's going to last a little longer throughout the day. And you're not going to feel oh, I'm wearing makeup.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to be, maybe some people be how are you doing this? It's all done with the hands, which is great.
Yeah.
kind of use this kind of pinkish matte all over the eye. So this is like a great way to just give a little depth without anybody going, oh my gosh, what is she doing to her eyes today? Or even these kind of caramel tones are nice. See if that's going to pick up. And this is great for if you open up your eye and then look in the mirror. This is a great tone for right in here.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm just going to get you to close now. And then I'm just using my fingers at the end of the eye. And again, kind of like a beauty blender technique where I'm just lightly dabbing and smudging. And then you can open. And it's such a subtle transition, but it's just lifting the eye a little bit.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, you see how it kind of...
It like wakes them up a little bit.
Yes, a little bit of
I look very awake.
Yeah, yeah. You
in
are,
a good way.
Yeah, you're ready to go for your interview. And then I'll get
That's
you to
funny.
look this way. And then people aren't going to be like wondering like, oh, she's wearing a lot of makeup.
Yeah, you don't want to look like you've got a ton of makeup on. I mean, I guess depending on the environment. I guess that's the thing too, is you want to kind of tailor the look a little bit. Like some work environments and jobs are going to expect like a really like more makeup forward look.
Yes.
But many, I feel like a lot of what we've just been chatting about is kind of a more corporate setting where you want to keep it a little bit more low key.
A little bit more low key. Yeah, if it was for the arts or even for a makeup artist or
totally
somebody in that field, I guess you want to show your best artwork.
Yeah.
And these tones are great for the eyes. And it doesn't have to be perfect when you're applying it because they're not far off from your skin tone. So you're not
forgiving.
Very forgiving, very easy to work with. And it's just blending.
Just with the finger.
Yeah. So you don't even need brushes these days. I do like the beauty blender for certain occasions. Like I like it for your skin. Sometimes I'm just more for like a brush and like hitting it down the T-zone area. But brush, beauty blenders, hands are great. That looks looking beautiful. Okay, so I'm just applying a little bit of set powder, but I'm not doing the whole face. I'm kind of spot treating down the T-zone.
Okay.
So if you look this way, what I want to do is I want to leave your skin more dewy here so that it feels more like your own skin.
Yeah.
And then I'm just focusing more on the chin area and above the lips and then just down the T-zone and under the eyes. And then what I like to do with the setting powder is just let it sit in the tear duct area. And we'll come back to that after. And then I'm kind of trying to stay a little bit away from the edges. Yeah. Because that's where we have the laugh lines and all that. And like, just keep everything fresh. If you're in an interview, at the end, you said your goodbyes and everything. At that point, once you leave, it's the unknown. Like, did I get it? Was it well? I think I did good, blah, blah, blah. Should you send like a follow-up after?
Definitely send a thank you note after your interview. It's funny because I think there was a time when this was something that was like super standard. And now I think it's a little less standard, which is why when you do it, it stands out more. So it's to your credit to, acknowledge and say thanks for the interview. And if you can, say something personal, like it was so great meeting you and learning more about such and such and such and such.
Nice.
Because again, like it's just another chance to
seal the deal.
Yeah, it's another opportunity, it's another touch point to show that you're going to be a great addition to the team and a great colleague to work with or a great person if this is the person you're going to be reporting to, they want to see that you're responsive and care and all of those things, and potentially can communicate effectively by email. So win, 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 win. Let's demonstrate that. So if you haven't had email correspondence with them before that point, then you want to get their email before you leave the room. Like, I'd love to send you a thank you note. Can I get your email from you? And they'll say yeah, and then you send it. And I think the ones that show up literally the same day, again, thinking about the person receiving it, like, that looks the best. To get a note and to get it the same day, like that evening or even a couple hours later or whatever. Yeah, I think it's a really nice touch. And even if you felt like, oh man, I really bombed that interview.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
still
it's such a funny feeling.
Yeah, because you really don't know. It's still something to do. And also, you have no idea, like, it could be that you don't get this job this time around, but in another 9 months, the role comes up again. The person they end up hiring doesn't work out, and they think of you. So thinking about the interview experience as also a relationship building opportunity, like with every person who you're coming into contact with during the process, each one is an opportunity to build something that, could lead to something later. Whether it's them helping you or you helping them or any of it, that's the kind of philosophy of building a network. But also, when you think about writing that email, I've seen this a bunch being on the other side of interviews, like being the person doing the interviews. You've got, yeah, perfect. If you've been interviewed by like 3 different people that day, say, you don't want to just copy and paste the same note to each of them, because there's a good chance that they'll forward your note to each other. And not even in kind of a creepy way, but just as like an FYI. Like, I mean, say they did a bunch of interviews and they're all meeting that Friday afternoon to talk about all the candidates. So they may share with each other like, hey, got this from Judith, FYI. And so if they've each got the same email, then again, it's like an opportunity for you to impress all 3 of them all over again with a slightly different, doesn't have to, like, it's going to be mostly the same.
Yes.
But if you're saying something personal, just doing it for each of them.
Just be careful that it's going to probably be short.
Yeah, like I especially loved the intimate connection we established. Like, that would be weird to send that to 3 different people the same. Yeah.
Let's get you look straight for a second, and then, yeah, perfect. And then just blink. And then just down. So I've taken your mascara and then I've used a disposable mascara brush. So what I'm doing is I just want to give the eyelashes a little bit of depth, and let's get you gaze down. But I don't want it to really look like you're wearing mascara.
Tricky.
So it's just, and that way you don't have to worry about your mascara running during your interview when you're super nervous.
Not a cool look.
No. Especially if it's the bottom lashes. I rarely ever do the bottom lash. Let's get you to close your eyes. Okay, and then we'll get you look straight. And instead of bringing like the eyelashes to the corners out, like that, V-line, I'm actually going up.
Okay.
So what I want to do is draw the attention right to the middle of the face.
Okay.
So you don't have to spend the time doing it on the side.
Yeah.
So you gaze down a little bit. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's see there. It's very subtle.
It's subtle, but it looks really nice.
Yeah.
Like really professional and just like natural, but very polished.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is successful for you.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
And because you have such long lashes, you won't have to worry so much if it bleeds onto the eyelid. And then sometimes after, what I'll do is if you just blink onto your finger, you can remove any excess. And blink. And down more. Yeah, that's it.
Or you do pinching actions with your lashes. So sometimes, like in the morning, if I just want a very natural look, I'll actually pinch off any of the mascara. So it's just kind of more of staining it as opposed to wearing it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's yeah, I think this is looking very beautiful. For
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, the eyes look really nice.
And then for lipstick, I always would say for an interview, stay with your lip tone color as much as possible.
Yeah, you don't want it to be distracting.
That's right. And if you want to, you can even probably get away with just like a little bit of a matte lip balm. But we're talking, so if there's a lot going on, it can be very distracting. Okay, I always kind of think like you want people to remember you for you, not for the shade of lipstick or eyeliner that you're wearing.
Completely. Or what you're wearing, for that matter.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, what to wear to an interview. We should do a video on that. Please leave a comment down below if you would like Allison and I to do a what to wear to an interview. And then I find with lipsticks, if you apply it just directly, it looks like you're wearing lipstick. But when you do it with a brush, it's kind of like the beauty blender again. You're just kind of hitting and smudging the lips. I guess in the makeup world, I guess we could call it beating the lips, as opposed to beating the face.
Yeah.
But,
I have honestly never really used a lip brush, and that's so cool to know, because I find that sometimes it goes on, it feels really heavy.
Yes.
And really like, I'm wearing lipstick.
Yes. Yes. There are some products which are great that are more of like a gloss or like a moisturizer, and then with a bit of pigment. This one's like got like a satin matte feel to it, so you're kind of in between matte and gloss, not gloss, but like more dewy, I would say. So it's hydrating,
which is key.
Yeah. And you don't want to worry about lipstick during your interview.
Not at all.
So it's funny, like, let's say you spend all this time to get ready, but you didn't spend the time on doing the homework or thinking about the interview. Did the chances go down, do you feel, like, for getting hired?
If you haven't really prepped like properly. Yeah, because I think the interviewer can feel it.
Yeah.
And it can also affect you and your confidence. So that's the other kind of nice byproduct of knowing that you've prepped, is that similar to knowing that you got ready and look amazing, like you feel confident. I think it goes a long way. It's funny, the bigger benefit of all the prep might actually be the confidence, and that's what leads to the great performance. Right? Versus the prep, balance. Versus the prep alone kind of leading to the great performance, although it helps. So yeah, I think it's really important to spend some time and really get ready.
I think this looks great.
Yeah, me too. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Fresh.
Yeah, the lip is nice. Is that
very
my lip color that you put on it?
This is the Sephora line in shade 3. But
it's really nice.
Yeah, they're really pretty and very easy to work with. And even you can just use your finger. So like I would apply some to, like, let's say if you wanted to apply it to your hand, like smudge it out there, and then again you're smudging, and then you apply it. You could even get even more subtle results.
Yeah.
So I think this is a nice shade. Or even with your cream blush that we added a little bit to your cheek, you can even use that in the middle. And that's just going to soften it a little bit to more of a nude, I guess, like a nudish pink, but still not too far off from what you have. It's kind of fun. So you can use your lip and change it to a cheek stain. I love cheek stains because you can also do it for the eyes as well too. Just close a little bit. I'm just bringing like a little bit of a dewiness to the eye. Not shine, but dewy, like not like shimmers. And just give a little bit of pink. Really. Oh, so what are we doing for hairstyling? Let's talk about hair. I mean, your hair to me looks great. Like you can even just get away with sheeting it a little bit to like a 2-minute look. Like,
yeah, my hair is long for my taste right now.
Yeah.
I reached a point a couple years ago where it was like, I don't want it back. Once it's this length, then I'm putting it back all the time. So I prefer to wear it down, but like short. So at this length, I struggle a little bit, whether it's just down, or whether I do something, or
do you need to
you
have
tell
it?
Me, School me, please.
Well, I mean, it's not bad where it's at now. But it's definitely losing its like structure.
Yeah, because my hair is really kind of low profile. Like it doesn't have a lot of natural like movement to it. It's very straight and very fine. And so
When's your last haircut?
I probably did it. It was a while ago. Maybe August, which actually seems more recent than I thought. It wasn't my greatest haircut. It wasn't my great. I was a little disappointed, but
How much shorter does it usually?
I like it like pretty short.
Okay.
I mean, I've had it cut kind of different places. I've had funny advice on like, do not end it here. You have a strong jaw. Like, I don't know. So then I struggle. Like, but I like it around this length where it's like maybe chin or maybe a little.
Do you want to do it?
So now you're speaking my language.
Yeah,
Do you think so?
I think we can do it. 1 second. I'm going to wrap around to the other side. I mean, I guess if you're into that interviewing phase, maybe it's okay to get yourself a haircut.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
it's a confidence builder too.
Yeah, right? I mean, in doubt, another thing that could be done is curling it like half just to get a bit of weight and body.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to cut it, let's do it.
Let's cut it.
All right. Amazing. Okay. All right, Allie.
Love it.
Yeah, it's super fresh.
Feels really light.
And it's sitting, is that about the length that works for you?
Yeah, I'm not going to be like throwing it into the elastic.
And what's super cute too is for something more fun, you just really shake the hair forward and you turn a bit sideways. There's all this beautiful texture that you can go from office look to lunch break, or you can change it up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's really nice. It really has a lot of movement to it.
Yes. Structure is going to hold. You're going to get through like the next probably like 3 months or so with like a nice, easy to achieve everyday look.
Totally.